join me in welcoming to the stage filmmaker David Borenstein.
Hello, thank you so much for coming out. We are so excited to be here. We're still in LA. We thought we would be gone by now, but we're still here.
Something happened.
Something happened. Unexpected events happened, very unexpected events. And yeah, I mean, just with Eugene here, I have to say, it is so cool that all 5 of these documentary nominees came from the Sundance Film Festival. I mean, that's like, come on, like, yeah, Sundance has supported so many of our careers. I first worked with Sundance 10 years ago when I got my first grant from Sundance, from the Film Fund. And yeah, I mean, it's just such an important institution. So for me, Sundance is where all of our films began. And this is kind of fitting in a way, because this is the end. I mean, this is the end right now. I mean, we've been touring with this film for way too long. For 15 months. I mean, most normal directors have moved on to their next project. They premiered their next project, and here we still are. But it's just so fitting to have Eugene here. And now he finally found his way back. Here's Pasha Talankan.
Привет. Привет всем.
Привет всем. Здрасте. Hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Спасибо.
Большой.
Спасибо. Меня зовут Паша. Вот. Мы сделали с ребятами кино. Получили Оскар.
Да.
Yeah, my name is Pasha. We made this film and we got an Oscars.
I guess, Radovan, you should bring the Oscar.
Yes.
Мы его привезли вам, чтобы вы смогли.
There it is in a tote bag.
Yes.
This is Radovan Siebert, the one of the producers of the film from Czech Republic.
Here it is. Who
I
wants to
don't know,
hold
what do
it?
we do with it? It's what do you do with it? It's like,
I don't want to touch it.
I don't even want to touch it too, yeah.
Here to that man.
У нас у всех есть. Я просто свой забыл дома. Вот. Но мне всегда было интересно, сколько он весит, как он лежит в руке. Всегда было интересно его подержать. Поэтому, если кто-нибудь хочет, тоже, у кого есть такое желание, можно. Давайте, знаете как? Давайте отомстим этой машине пропаганды. Давайте, вот они там передавали гранаты, а мы будем передавать друг другу Оскар.
We all have it. I just forgot mine at home. And you know, I've always had this questions of like how much it weighs, how does it feel in the hand. So if any of you want to actually try it out, please let's do it. And let's beat that propaganda machine. You know, in the film they were passing out the grenades and we're just gonna passing around the Oscars.
So,
Только не поцарапайте, осторожно.
Yeah, just don't scratch it, please.
well, while the Oscar is making its way around the room, let's talk a little bit about. Well, you know what? We'll start with the present day. We'll start with the last couple of days, and then we'll go back to the beginning.
Yes.
David and Pasha, we heard your remarkable words on Sunday night. And so many of us watching at home were so moved by what you said. We can only imagine that your lives and the spotlight on this film has intensified in the last few days. So maybe if we could start by just hearing from you what the last few days has meant for each of you personally, but also for this film and its and the spotlight that it stands in.
Yeah, I mean, being able to go up on that stage, you have just like 30 or 40 seconds to try to say something. And so I think it was important to both me and Pasha to try to say something that made a difference or connected to the themes of our film in an important way. And so we tried to do that. And then afterwards, when you win the Oscar, your like phone blows up, and so like it was vibrating in my pocket for a long time, and then I just picked it up, and it was like hot. It was like really hot. So I mean, just if you want to know what I did in the next 48 hours, I just spent 48 hours responding to all the messages, because that's how long it took. And then we faced more heat since then. Since then, the Russian government has finally acknowledged the film after 15 months of ignoring it. Finally, they've said its name. There's been a few times in the last 15 months where they've acknowledged it in an indirect way. They've said, at the Sundance Film Festival, there was a film about changes in the Russian education system. But now they've said its name. And now they have actually started attacking us, and they have, hear this, the Russian Human Rights Council has put forward a complaint towards the Academy and towards UNESCO of all institutions against us for illegally filming in Russia.
Они будут делать официальные заявления, и лучше рекламы не придумаешь.
Yeah, their official statement is, you cannot imagine a better advertisement for a film.
Для меня последние дни после Оскара очень такие же, как обычные дни. Жарко очень у вас, и от солнца прячетесь иногда. А так, на самом деле, очень счастлив, то, что большое внимание к фильму, и то, что вызывает резонанс среди российской публики, делятся люди напополам. Кто за этот фильм, кто против этого фильма. Но самое главное, то, что приятно, что о нем говорят, то, что он не остается в тени. Потому что если бы о нем ничего не говорили, было бы обидно.
Yeah, the last days after the Oscars, in some ways were the same. It's really hot in here, so, I was just hiding in the shadows from time to time. But I'm just very happy that it gets a lot of attention from the Russian audiences, that people get split, the ones who support the film, the ones who don't support the film. And I'm just happy that they talk about it. I think it would be a shame if nobody talked about this film.
Вот. И вот хочу сказать то, что речь, которую я говорил, когда вручали Оскар, ее написали мои студенты. Вот. И я подумал, то, что я обязан с ними поделиться этим. И они такое большое полотно написали, я говорю, давайте сокращать будем потихонечку, потому что нет столько времени. И вот так вот мы сокращали и пришли к этому. В общем, они очень счастливы, в Карабаше очень счастливы. Мама купила торт, принесла его в учительскую, говорит, давайте пить чай. Ей говорят, а что за повод? Вот Паша Оскар выиграл. Ты брешешь. Вот.
Yeah, I just want to say that the speech that was given from stage from me was written by my students. They have written a very long speech, and we were, discussing how to shorten it, and in the end, that's what we got. But I was just really happy to share it with them, because it's, some of them are really happy about it in Karabakh. Some people are really happy about it. For instance, my mom, she actually bought a cake and she brought it to work, and people are like, what is the occasion? And she's like, well, there is something. There is an occasion.
So let's go back now to the beginning of this project. Some folks may have heard some of this, but I think others, it may be new, this story. But I want to start from the question of both risk and partnership, risk and connection. David and Pasha, how you navigated finding each other and making this connection, but also navigating the inherent risks of what you were doing so many months ago when the outcome was in no way scripted or could be imagined. The outcome that would have you here today could be imagined.
Yeah, Pasha and I were connected through total chance. Pasha responded to a casting call that that within Russia was looking for stories about how workplaces had been changed because of the special military operation in Ukraine. And he responds saying, "Let me tell you how my workplace has been changed. I've been turned into a propagandist." And then he responds to that casting call, and it's a Russian company that puts it out, and they can't do it obviously because it's critical. But then they ended up forwarding it to me, and then we started talking, and we started making this plan to make this film together. And as soon as we got into it, we knew it was a ethical and security minefield. There were so many ways we could have gone about it that would have been disastrous. So a big part of it was getting the BBC involved really early, who helped us figure out a lot of things, including security protocols. And there were so many security protocols. Like, it was like we were living in an espionage film for 2.5 years, just using code words and talking through encrypted lines and making sure no one was around him when we spoke, and transferring footage through encrypted FTP servers. If I have to say the craziest thing that we had to do as part of the security, it was, our way of working together was Pasha filmed what he wanted, and then I was editing in Denmark. And one of the security protocols was, David, don't share your cuts with Pasha, because the best thing that Pasha had going for him was the fact that even when he said he was working on a film, no one believed him. It was just too crazy. Like, the fact that this impossible production was coming together. And so in order to keep that illusion up, we couldn't send him cuts, because the biggest security risk would have been a cut circulating around Karabakh. And so that was the chief difficulty of this production. It was working under a situation where we couldn't communicate. I couldn't give him any proof that I was turning this footage into a film. I was trying to give advice and trying to explain what I was doing, but for 2.5 years, this man was sending me footage and getting no proof back that anything was happening. And the psychological pressure of that was really, really immense. This culminates when he left Russia, and I had a rough cut of the film, which we ended up working on together to finish. But I showed him this rough cut in Istanbul after he fled, the day after this last scene of the film. And after he watched it, he said, "I was 50% certain this whole thing was a scam." And then he knew it wasn't. But that is the essential thing of this project. People often ask us, how did you find the trust to work together? We didn't. We didn't know that this was real until we finished it. We didn't know that there would be a way of getting this out into the world until we finished it. Everything was a leap of faith. We both really wanted to do it, and we didn't know that for sure about the other side until it was done.
Kind of the same, a version of the same question for you, Pasha. Being on the other side of what David has just described, you're filming this, not knowing whether it's real or where it's going to end up. What drove you to keep going and to trust that it might hopefully someday amount to something?
Ну, потому что я сперва побоялся, подумал, вдруг это какой-нибудь ФСБшник пишет, а потом от него сообщение-то первое было такое, что «Привет, я про тебя знаю все, а ты обо мне ничего не знаешь». Я думаю, ФСБшник так никогда не напишет, поэтому можно продолжать работать. Но...
Yeah, at first I was a little bit afraid. I don't know if it was an FSB guy writing to me or but then his first message that he sent was actually him saying, "I know everything about you, but you know nothing about me." And then I thought, an FSB would never write that, so
laying it on too thick.
Но во время работы с ним самое страшное было, если кто-нибудь узнает, что я с ним сотрудничаю. Вот. И вот это было страшно. Потому что в России нельзя сказать, что я с американским режиссером тут снимаю фильм. Вот.
And during the work, the scariest part was someone to find out, because in Russia you cannot say that, "Oh yeah, I'm working with this American director on the film." It's just, it's not allowed.
What kind of, how many folks in this room are of Russian background, Russian or connected to, okay. What
У вас
kind?
как комьюнити тут развитое?
Yeah, the Russian community is very developed here.
So, with that in mind, what kind of reactions, both in the film since Sundance or as it's gone out into the world, or even in the last few days, what kind of responses have you received from folks who are in Russia? What kind of messages have you gotten from the films being seen there, but also from folks who either are in Ukraine or have left the region? What kind of feedback are you getting, and what are you hearing?
После того, как стало известно о фильме, в школу приехали ФСБшники, собрали директоров всех образовательных организаций и сказали: запоминайте сами, передавайте своим коллегам, этого человека не было и нет, фильма этого не было и нет, вы ему не звоните, вы ему не пишете, этот фильм никак не комментируете.
So in the past, when the first information about the film got out, in Karabakh, the FSB, they collected all the principals from the schools, and then they told them that this person no longer exists. You cannot contact him, talk about him. He doesn't exist anymore.
Вот. Но и поэтому я никакой обратной связи от коллег не получал. Они мне ничего не писали, ничего не звонили. Одна только позвонила после того, как уволилась с работы. Она мне позвонила и сказала, что мы под роспись. В детском доме был приказ, и потом фамилия, она говорит, мы под роспись, мы расписывались, что никто тебе звонить не будет. То есть, оказывается, работодатель еще и эти вопросы решает, кому ты будешь звонить, кому ты не будешь звонить.
So I haven't really got any feedback or any opinions from my colleagues or anyone, because only one person they contacted me, and then I found out that they had to actually sign off on the paper that they weren't contacting me. So yeah.
Вот. Так обычные жители писали, родители писали, что спасибо тебе, Паша, мы знали, что у наших детей появились эти уроки, но мы не знали содержания. Спасибо, что рассказал об этом. Потом были комментарии от учителей соседнего города. Они сказали, мы ждали, что кто-нибудь об этом расскажет, но мы не ждали, что это будет от Карабаша, потому что Карабаш настолько помойка для Челябинской области, что тут невозможно, голос оттуда будет не услышан точно.
And then I was also receiving messages from parents who were telling me that they knew that it was going on, but they didn't know, but they knew that these classes were happening, but they didn't know what exactly was being told in these classes. So they were saying thank you for showing it. And I was also getting messages from teachers from other parts of the country who were saying thank you for showing it, but then they also said that they would never expect that it came out of Karabakh. Because even in the Chelyabinsk Oblast, which is the region where the city is located, it's considered to be like a trash city. You wouldn't expect something to come out of it.
Студенты написали, что они счастливы быть в таком большом проекте, что круто, что он существует. Маша написала, что почему меня так мало.
Yeah, and some of the students said that they were happy about being part of such a huge thing, such a huge project. Masha, she wrote that, why am I so little in it?
Но были и такие комментарии, что мы дождемся, когда ты вернешься в Карабаш, переломаем тебе колени, будешь ползать, извиняться перед нами, перед всеми. И на самом деле так здорово, что на такой большой планете есть маленький городок, где тебя ждут по-настоящему.
But there were also comments like, when you come here, we expect you to come here, we're going to break your legs, you're going to regret it. And I just think, it's so nice on this huge planet to have a place where someone truly expects you.
I think it's really important, though, to say there's been a few moments from those last few weeks where I felt really proud. One was when it was reported in Medusa, there was a reporter who, within Russia, went to interview students who were in the film anonymously. And they were not able to find one student that was unhappy with the film. And the New York Times did that the day after the Oscars. And they also interviewed only students who were happy with the film. So it's really important to say that no reporter has ever found a student that was feeling that this film was unfair or wrongly filmed in any way, and that confirms what we thought was happening during the process, and feels really good.
I want to give the audience maybe a chance to ask like 2 questions, because there might be some folks that want to join the conversation, and we have more than 2. So I saw you first, right? Yeah, you just turned your head. Yeah, I noticed your hand up first. So why don't we start with you?
With him or me?
I noticed him, and then we'll go to you.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
I just wanted to ask simply if you miss your hometown and how your life is now.
Иногда скучаю, иногда он мне снится, но мне нужно от этого как-то абстрагироваться. Иногда иду мимо школы, смотрю, ух ты, как у них тут интересно все придумано. Или вот на каком-нибудь празднике побываю, думаю, ух ты, как это все здорово они сделали. Вот я бы в школу такое перенял. Когда мы были на Оскаровском ланче для номинантов, я потом в чат студентам написал, если бы я сперва был на Оскаровском ланче, а потом бы вам проводил выпускной, то он был бы совершенно другим.
Sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I have dreams about it, but I just have to like take my mind off it. I would say that, you know, when I would go past the school, I would think, or like go at some event, I would think, oh yeah, that would have been nice to do, you know, back home. For instance, when I was at the Oscars lunch, I wrote to some of my students that, you know, if I were to the Oscars lunch first and then organize your prom, it would look completely different.
That's great.
Love it.
Okay, you're next. Yes.
My questions, I have 3, but they're short. Started in February of 22. How long before the propaganda started? And then till he left. That's one question. The next, until he started Fuel Danger when the propaganda started. And then the second one.
15, короткие вопросы, короткие ответы. 15 марта мы стали получать, 14 марта мы стали получать письма от Министерства образования. Было полностью все прописано. Как фотографировать детей, что должен говорить учитель, где материал скачивать, что должно быть показано по телевизору. С 14 марта, то есть через 3 недели.
Yeah, for short questions, short answers, but on the 14th of March, we started receiving orders. So on the 14th of March, it was already the first orders coming in saying how to take photos of kids, what kind of classes to do, how to organize events, etc. So yeah, 14th.
1 month after the invasion. 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I know.
3 weeks, yeah.
And then the other one, just curious if he wants to answer it. How many people does he know that were from his town were personally affected, either injured or killed?
Сколько людей из твоего города были лично пострадали от войны, либо убиты, либо пострадали физически?
Но точно, несмотря на то, что мы живем в маленьком городе, точных данных нет. У меня был день рождения 11 марта, мне ребята пишут, как ты себя чувствуешь? Я говорю, нормально. Они говорят, плохая новость, Никиты больше нет. Вот. Одного из моих студентов больше нет, он погиб на войне. Вот. Ваня вернулся, Ваня работает на заводе. Потолстел, жирный стал, толще меня.
Yeah, even though it's a very small town, it is still kind of hard to get the information. When I had my birthday on the 11th of March, I got reached out by some of the students who they asked me how I was doing, and then they told me that there is like some bad news. Nikita died as well. It was one of the characters in the film, so it's the information. It's really hard to get the information. And then from the audience, they also asked how Vanya is doing, and Pasha said that he's okay. He got back, but he got a bit chunky. More than him. His words.
Right here, yes. Hi.
First of all, I wanted to say, as a documentary filmmaker who undertook an Oscar campaign, I sympathize with what you had to go through and how difficult the process is. I really applaud you for doing that for 15 months. My question was, you have worked with a lot of children in this film, and for documentary filmmakers, that's always a concern, like with the consent and everything. So when you started promoting and really putting yourself out there, how did you navigate the security concerns of the children who were being featured in the film?
Yeah, so for us, we started working very early, like at the very onset of the project with the BBC. So he's talking March 14th is when the propaganda directive started coming in. That was 3 weeks after the full-scale invasion. 3 weeks after that, Pasha and I had already started working together, and we already were engaging with the BBC. And I remember the first time I pitched this to the BBC, I was like, actually, the very first thing that we shot was the history teacher lesson, the Abu Manaf, where he's talking about the French riding around like musketeers. And so I'm showing that footage to the BBC, and it's so illustrative. It's so illuminating about what's underpinning this crazy full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And it's right when the full-scale invasion was on everyone's mind, because it had just happened. And so we were looking at this and we were like, wow, this is so important, but should we do it? And it was the weirdest pitch, because I was showing them this stuff and it was so interesting, but I was also kind of saying, but maybe we shouldn't do it, because like, how do we navigate these issues? But they really led the way. And we set a lot of ground rules. One ground rule was any student that is under the age of 18 is only going to be filmed taking part in groups and reading scripts, because when they are in these propaganda classes, they're just reading scripts that's given to them by the Russian government. All of the students that kind of emerge as characters are adults when the film comes out. So we focused on the older students, the people who were graduating. And then when it comes to consent from them, it's a tricky topic, because if we were to say that we had their consent, well, then that's treason, because this is a treasonous film. So how do you navigate that? And at the end of the day, BBC said, you know what, we just have to say we have no consent. That's what we have to say in order to protect them. And that's what we went with. And then internally within the BBC, they determined that the journalistic kind of grounds for putting this out outweighed anything else, because it was something that we hadn't seen before and was really telling us something that we needed to see.
As we wrap up this conversation, I want to ask a follow-up, because it relates to where you were just going, David, and you and Pasha could talk about this. You talked earlier about how when you finally were able to watch this rough cut and start to work on the film together in the kind of later stages, maybe add a little bit of more context to that and the kinds of conversations you had in those first meetings, and how the film evolved from what you had been working on, what Pasha had been shooting separately, and then as you guys came together as collaborators.
Yeah, like obviously to make it without him, we talked on the phone every single week, and I recorded a lot of those, and I created like a kind of list and like a lot of notes on what he was thinking at various points. And then it was my job to kind of like put that into a narrative and put it into a dramaturgy. Of course, a lot of it was guesses, because I couldn't get feedback from him. So when I showed him the cut, there were definitely places where there's no way that's what he would have been thinking. The guess was off. And so a big part of it was just going through the lines and figuring out what like he actually was thinking, while trying to keep the structure as similar as possible, because we didn't have much time, because we were submitting to the Sundance Film Festival. And then beyond that, there were definitely some scenes that he wanted to add to the film. And so there was a scene with, I think the scene with the teachers talking about how kids' grades had fallen behind. He was like, no, you have to add that. And so there was a few scenes like that where he's like, you have to add it. And then, you know how a film is. It's like you have this kind of complicated scene map, and you're like, oh my God, how do I change it? But whenever he wanted to add a scene, we would find a way to do it. And so it had to be like Pasha totally believed in it. And so he had a lot of ideas there.
Самая частая критика, не критика, самая частая просьба в мой адрес со стороны Дэвида была: Паша, сегодня вечером никакого караоке. Приди завтра утром, никакого караоке.
But the most common request from David alongside when we were actually making the edit together was tonight no karaoke. You have to be in the office tomorrow.
Yes.
Tonight
Yes.
no karaoke.
Oh my God, there were so many moments. I mean, he was out of car wash for the first time in his life. Like it was the first months in the West, and he rightfully should have been enjoying. But I will say one thing: Pasha often would give me inspiration by like giving me statements, like broad ideas. And one broad idea that you love to repeat, and I really took to heart, and I think you just totally see in the film, was, David, this, whatever we do, like, let's have this film be about love more than war.
Final question as we wrap up and as Oscar makes its way to the final few rows at the top. I know we're I don't know how much time we have, so I know. Can we go right here and then I'm gonna ask wrap up and then we're done.
Me?
Yes.
Hi, first of all, as someone who works, I'm a teacher, this film really moved me. I really felt for you, for the teachers, for the students. But my big question is, how's your mom doing?
Она продолжает работать. Про нее местное издание написало, что мать была вынуждена уволиться со школы с позором. Она приходит в школу и говорит: я в школе узнала о том, что я в школе больше не работаю.
She continues working. Actually, one of the regional medias wrote this article about her that she was fired with disgrace from the school. She found out about that while being on a shift at work. And so she texted me, I found out that I was fired from school in school.
My last question, as you're wrapping up the end of this incredible journey, again, you couldn't have imagined where it would take you. What's next? What happens next for each of you?
I guess I'll go first. I'll say this has been just such an insane journey in general. I mean, we started at Sundance last year, and then the last 5 months, Pasha and I have been just on the road. I mean, just what you have to do for these campaigns is just crazy. You're traveling around the world. You're kind of like a touring band going to a new city every single day. But the schedule and the route doesn't make any sense because people aren't coming to you. You're chasing people. And so it's you're in New York, and then you're in London, and then you're in New York, and then you're in London, and then you're in San Francisco, and then you're in like London. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
London a lot.
London was a lot. So London was very important for us. If you want to get into the nitty gritty of an Oscar campaign, but Pasha and I have been through so much, and we've been together this whole time. Actually, today I noticed that we're wearing the same thing. Like,
oh my God, yes.
Our styles have converged. like seriously, like our styles have converged over the last 5 months. That's how we were so in lockstep with each other now. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to even like my mental state right now is it's hard to like imagine what I'm going to be doing tomorrow because like this is the last day right now. Like I'm going to say bye to Pasha after so many months of being together with him. It's like it's almost impossible to imagine that this is over because we've been through such an intense thing. And it's I don't know, just tomorrow I'm flying away and it's just really hard to wrap my mind around.
Я не знаю дальше что. Следующий Оскар. Мне надо больше, мне было мало.
I don't know what's next. Maybe next Oscars. I mean, one is not enough.
I know we're out of time. I appreciate the opportunity to spend this culmination of your journey together that took you to the Academy Awards on Sunday, and you left with this incredible honor. And I think you've represented yourselves in the film so beautifully and touched so many of us in watching that journey. So again, congratulations. Wishing you both and all of you the best, and we're just so happy for you.
Woo!
Если вы будете опубликовывать фотографии от печати или хэштег, делайте pink. By pink, как в Инстаграм? By pink в Инстаграме. Да.
Yeah, if you're gonna be posting the stories with the Oscars, tag by Pink, the Czech production.
Because it's his
company.
Oscar.
Yeah.
I want to say one thing too, because I think we rudely haven't introduced Katya here. Katya Keys, who is translating tonight, but she's much more than a translator. She is the assistant director on this
first AD.
project, and the project would have fallen apart many times if it wasn't for her. She was the person who helped me and Pancha communicate in so many ways. She helped organize his escape from Russia, with the plane tickets, she's just done so much. So yes, you already applauded for her, but let's just do it again, because seriously.
Woo!
Thank you, Katya.
Say a couple words real quick, Katya, just as you're also wrapping up this journey. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just really hard saying goodbye to something that has been part of my identity for so long. I know that my friends are going to be very happy because they're just so tired of hearing about it every single day. But it also makes sense because, it's such an incredible opportunity and such an incredible project. And knowing that you leave that, you have this work on something that has this impact, that you leave something, with your professional life. It's just, it's uncomparable feeling. So I'm really proud, but it's also hard to say goodbye, I guess.
Thank you again. We won't say goodbye, we'll say until next time. And we wish you all the very best. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you to the audience.